$1,435 a month, and it's tax-free. That's what a single skin condition can pay a veteran in 2026. Not a lost limb, a rash. One that flares up, calms down, and comes right back. And most veterans who live with one never file a thing. Here's the part that stuck with me. There's a way this pays the full 60% in a year. Your skin looks almost clear. Stay with me, because I'll show you exactly where that hides.
I'm Erica. Dermatitis and eczema come first, and the VA files them both under one code, 7806. These are the everyday skin problems millions of people live with, and the schedule treats them as real disabilities, not cosmetic complaints.
Leo here, and psoriasis gets its own code, 7816. Look at how the VA handles it though. Same rulebook, same ladder as eczema. The trend says these autoimmune skin conditions are getting recognized more, not less.
This is Tiffany, and the version going around is that a rash can't be worth real money. Wrong. There are two ways to rate one, and you take the higher of the two.
Those two ways are what most veterans never hear. One counts how much skin is affected. The other counts your treatment, the pills and the injections and the biologics you take to control it. And a biologic alone can carry you to 60%.
And that's exactly where veterans get robbed. Skin conditions come and go. If your exam lands on a good week, a real condition can score a flat 0. Timing is everything here. All of this lives in one place, the VA's rating schedule, the printed rule book that pins a code and a percentage to every condition on the books. None of this is our opinion. We're reading the code straight off the page.
This one's been sitting in the comments all week, so let me just read it. Can you really get VA disability for eczema? Or does it just get waved off as cosmetic? Honest answer, you can, if it's active and documented. Cosmetic is exactly the wrong word for a thing that costs you sleep and skin.
That's the whole game, and it's why we keep a free conditions checker and the full ratings list at va.professorerica.com. Next, the two rating methods side by side, because picking the wrong one is how you underrate yourself. Pick the wrong rating method here, and you can leave a whole tier of money behind. So let's settle it. There are two ways to rate eczema or psoriasis, and Erica and Leo start from different ends. Erica leans on how much skin is involved. Leo leans on the treatment. Walk me through it.
Start with the skin because it's the most concrete. The VA measures what percent of your body the lesions cover, or what percent of the exposed areas, the face and hands. Over 40% of the body is 60%. It's visible, it's photographable, and a rater can't argue with a measurement.
Look at it from the other side though. Most people with bad psoriasis aren't walking around with 40% of their skin covered. They're on medication that holds it down. And the treatment itself is a rating path. Constant systemic therapy, a biologic, is 60% on its own. I'd put real money on that being the bigger door for most veterans.
Erica, Leo just said the medication is the bigger door. Answer that head on. Is the treatment path really stronger than the skin path?
Often, yes. And here's the ruling. If you're on a biologic or long-term steroid pills, that constant systemic therapy is 60% no matter how clear your skin looks. The skin path tops out at the same 60, but you have to be actively broken out to prove it. The treatment path pays even when the medicine is working.
Right, and both of those live under 7817, so the code is the same either.
Hold on. Eczema is 7806. Psoriasis is 7816. Two codes.
You're right, my mistake. I had the codes merged in my head. Two codes, one rating formula. Good catch.
Leo, before we go on, where does that 60% for treatment rule actually come from? Source it for me.
The skin formula in 38 CFR 4.118, constant or near constant systemic therapy over the past 12 months, and it names biologics specifically. It's written into the schedule, not my opinion.
So here's where the panel lands, and it's the honest one. You don't pick a side. The VA rates you on whichever number is higher, the skin path or the treatment path. Think of it as two elevators to the same floor. Take whichever one carries you higher, and never assume the skin is the only door.
Every one of those dollars gets decided in a single appointment, the compensation and pension exam. And with skin, that one visit can make a real condition vanish on paper.
This is what an active eczema flare looks like, the raw, cracked skin inside the elbow. On a bad week, it covers real area. On a good week, that same arm looks nearly normal. Skin conditions are cyclical, and the exam only ever sees the day you walk in.
That's exactly the trap. So let's bring in someone who reads these skin claims cold. Let's get them on the line.
Glad to help. Here's the one thing I tell every veteran with a skin claim. Photograph your worst flare. Date it. Bring it to the exam, because the examiner measures the skin in front of them, and if that's a good day, your real condition reads as almost nothing.
Wait, a clear skin day at the exam scores a real condition at 0?
It happens constantly. That's why you also list every treatment. If you're on a systemic drug, that counts even on a clear day. The medication is proof the condition is serious enough to need it.
That's the piece almost nobody builds. Your medication list is evidence. The prescription is the paper trail that says this is real, whether or not it shows on exam day.
One more, then I'll get off the line. Ask for your exam during an active flare if you can, and read your own medical records first. If a doctor already wrote down the percent of body affected, half your evidence is already sitting in the file.
Tiffany, you flagged the version of this that trips people up. Put it to him.
Yes, here it is. If my skin is clear because the medication works, am I being punished for getting better?
No, and that's the most important thing I can tell you. The treatment path exists precisely so that controlling your condition doesn't erase your rating. Clear skin on a biologic still rates on the therapy. Getting better should never cost you.
That's the part a pamphlet never gives you. Appreciate you jumping on. Coming up, we put the whole rating ladder on the board and wait until you see what over 40% of your skin actually looks like. One picture settles this whole thing. See the ladder once and you'll know your own rung in about 10 seconds.
Start on the left with the skin itself. Under 5% of your body affected and only creams, and that's 0%. 5 to 20% is 10. 20 to 40 is 30. And over 40% of your body is 60.
Now the right side, the treatment ladder. Topical creams only is 0. Pills for under 6 weeks in a year is 10. 6 weeks or more of systemic therapy is 30. And constant systemic therapy, a biologic, is 60. Same rungs, different trigger.
And here's the verdict people miss. Wrong to think you're stuck on one ladder. You climb whichever one is higher.
This is what over 40% looks like. Plaque psoriasis across the whole back. That's a 60% skin path on site, no argument.
And whichever ladder is higher is the one that counts. If your skin scores a 10 but your medication puts you at 60, you are a 60. That settles it.
Leo, you've got that look like you're about to turn this into a sports metaphor.
I was going to make it a leg day thing. Higher ladder, more reps. But I'll spare everyone this once.
That's the most restraint you've shown all year, Leo. Noted for the record.
Point is, the exam room is where these numbers get assigned. So get measured on the right day, on the right ladder.
So know your rung before you walk in. Both ladders. Take the higher. $60% pays $1,435.02 a month in 2026, and it's tax-free. Let's turn the ladder into a paycheck.
Meet Ray, a 58-year-old Army veteran with psoriasis he's carried since his service. Rate him the low way, on skin alone, and a 10% reading pays just $180.42 a month.
Now run the real number. Ray's on a biologic, which is constant systemic therapy. That's the 60% rung, $1,435.02 a month.
So subtract the low reading, the $180 a ratter might have stopped at.
The difference is $1,254.60 every single month. Same veteran, same psoriasis, just rated on the higher ladder.
That's the two elevators again. Ray took the one that goes higher. The skin elevator stopped at 10. The treatment elevator ran to 60.
Run it across a year and it's just over $15,000. That's a mortgage payment or two gone because someone got rated on the wrong ladder.
And before anyone thinks this is automatic,
Hold on, it's not automatic. You proved the therapy and the diagnosis, right?
right, it's not a checkbox. I flip thrift furniture on weekends, and it's the same move. You shoot the before and the after and let the pictures do the arguing. Bring the evidence and the money is real. Verdict time, this one is worth the paperwork.
Rate on the higher of the two ladders every time. Here's the ruling. The treatment path is the one veterans forget they even have.
So is a skin rating worth chasing? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, and I'll give you the honest line on both.
Here's the whole thing end to end. If your eczema or psoriasis is active and covers real area, you file on the skin path, and you photograph your worst flare. If your skin is controlled but you're on a biologic or long-term steroid pills, you file on the treatment path because constant systemic therapy is 60% no matter how clear you look. You name the condition precisely on your claim, you list every medication, you read your own records first, and you rate on whichever ladder climbs higher. That is the entire strategy in one breath.
And the money mover, wait, let me say it right. It's not the amount of skin, it's the biologic. A drug that clears you can still pay 60%. That's the piece I keep almost flipping.
Say that number again? 60% for a rash that's cleared up?
60, if the biologic is constant. The medicine working is not the same as the condition being gone.
One cousin lives in this same family. Alopecia areata, hair loss, code 7831. Lose all your body hair and it's 10%. Just the scalp and face, and it's 0. Its own ladder, and a lower one.
And this is the door I promised you at the very top. The one where your skin looks almost clear and it still pays 60%. That's the biologic on the treatment ladder. Clearing up doesn't cost you the rating. That's the second door.
Now the honest other side. If your rash is genuinely mild, under 5%, and you only ever reach for a cream, it rates 0. Filing that as a big claim just burns your time. Be honest about where you actually land. And there's one more angle people miss.
Wait, burn pits. If a toxic exposure caused it, does that change the claim?
It can, if a doctor ties your skin condition to a toxic exposure, burn pits, or herbicides, you name both the condition and the exposure on the same form. Look at box 16. You write the condition on the left and the exposure on the right, and that link is what connects it to your service.
So here's the honest verdict. File where the condition is active or the treatment is constant. Rate on the higher ladder. Photograph your flare. And if it's genuinely mild and clear, save your energy. That's the whole playbook.
Rate high, file smart, and never let one good skin day at the exam decide your entire year.
The whole map in one line. Eczema, dermatitis, and psoriasis rate 2 ways, on your skin area or on your treatment, and you take whichever one climbs higher.
The piece to hold on to is the treatment path. A biologic that keeps you clear is constant systemic therapy, and that by itself is 60%. Getting better should never cost you a rating.
Next time we stay on the conditions list, and here's the hook. There's a scar rating that can quietly outrank the rash that caused it. Wait until you see how that one works.
For me, it's that gap number. $1,254 a month between the low reading and the right one on the exact same veteran.
So here's your one rep tonight. Pull your records and your medication list, and check which ladder is higher. I'd stick it on the fridge next to the grocery list. Then subscribe, because we're working through the VA's entire conditions list one video at a time, and a like puts this in front of the next veteran fighting the same rash. Before you go, one for the comments. Were you rated on your skin, on your treatment, or did the exam catch you on a good week? One rep at a time, one form at a time. Go.
That was a strong episode, Chris. The students are in good hands. This is Professor Erica. Thanks for watching and signing off.